Good to do.
Okay. Welcome. Here at Pressalit, we are proud to sponsor UNICEF and their work around the globe for better sanitation for every child. And with these introducing remarks, I'd like to welcome UNICEF to make a presentation of what our partnership is actually producing around the world.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. My name is Ditte, and I work with UNICEF as a communication manager regarding our corporate partnerships. And I'm here to tell you a little bit more about what we can accomplish together. But first, let me just give a few remarks about UNICEF. A lot of people know about UNICEF and they definitely recognize the logo, but a few are not aware that UNICEF is actually for children. We are the United Nations Children's Fund, and we are the largest organization working for children around the globe. We work in practically every country in the world, 190 countries, where we work with the governments, other NGOs, and local NGOs. And we are present in, you can see at the map, all the blue countries. This is where UNICEF are doing development work. And the green countries are the countries where we fundraise the money to pay for all the development work. But actually, the lines are blurring these days, and more and more developing countries are actually able to fundraise. And in many industrialized countries, we see also a need to do help work for children. For instance, with the influx of refugees in the European borders. 10,000 people work for UNICEF globally, and most of them work in their own country, in their home country. And our focus is helping children throughout their entire childhood. We have a saying that they have to come to the world safely from the mother's womb and thrive into adulthood, which the figure is representing. And we're working with towards five strategic goals, and they are aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals that the entire UN and practically the entire world is working together to reach. And we're summing it up. Every child survives and thrives. Every child learns. Every child is protected from violence and exploitation. Every child lives in a safe and clean environment. And every child has an equitable chance in life. And this area about providing safe water and especially sanitation, which is relevant for Pressalit, actually comes in on several of these strategic goals. I'll get into that more. Just saying that we work holistically because things are interconnected. You can't just if we have to help children to school, we can't just build more schools. We also have to take a look into child protection and sanitation and poverty and nutrition. It's all interconnected. That's why we work with a holistic approach. The Sustainable Development Goals, the global goals, UNICEF is practically working within all 17. Some of them are more relevant to us than others. For instance, the goal about child survival is one of our most important goals. But number 6 is also an important one. And UNICEF is taking lead in providing safe water and sanitation for children in practically every emergency in the world, because we know that water and sanitation is crucial for children's survival and ability to thrive. So this is where we have a common ground, UNICEF and Pressalit, and that's why we are able to build a really strong partnership. The Global Goal 6, I'm sure you know it, because I know it's close to your heart. But the goal is specifically around sanitation by 2030, that every child, every grown-up, all people in the world should have access to proper sanitation by 2030. This is what we're working towards, and we need to come together, all parties, to reach this goal. So why is sanitation so important? If we look at the facts, 1 in 3 people around the globe do not use improved sanitation. In fact, 1 in 7 practice open defecation. This is quite a lot of million people. And this is a problem because it causes diseases to spread, especially diseases that children are vulnerable to, like typhoid, hepatitis, cholera, all sorts of diarrhea diseases, which are life-threatening to children, but also polio. Polio is eliminated in most countries in the world, but it is endemic in a few. But the problem or the challenge is that in countries where only a smaller fraction of the children, like half of the children, are immunized for polio, the vaccine itself can actually spread the polio virus through open defecation and wastewater, for instance. And so it's critical to have proper sanitation, but also to immunize the big crowd, to have the flock immunity, I think it's called. And these diseases, diarrhea diseases, they are causing a lot of deaths among children under 5. And 800 children estimated are dying from these every day. So this is quite serious, and it's a huge focus for UNICEF to combat all the causes for diarrhea, because it's killing so many children. In fact, this problem, although it's widespread in the world, it's mainly concentrated in a few countries. The marked in red. So we have to really, if we really set in these 5 countries, we can achieve a lot. If we work towards abolishing open defecation in these 5 countries. So what needs to be done? Of course, we need to build toilets, but it's not done by building toilets, because we have to work towards changing behavior, and that is a lot more complicated than building toilets. There are three components in a broad spectrum. We have to create new social norms around toilet behavior, and we have to make sure that we can deliver the supplies that is needed to build toilets and drains and so on. And we have to make sure that we have an environment that enables this, that it's supported in the schools or in the villages or wherever children are living their daily life. Schools are very important here, and when we work in communities to eliminate open defecation, schools are very important, and often one of the first places that we go to implement the changes. And we have, we call it the 3-star approach. It's a step for the schools to develop from not having any sanitation or water installations or anything to the 3 stars where they meet every modern standard. And I brought a little video to give you an impression of how we work with the schools and how it's affecting the children.
I am Ditte, and this is my school, and our story with the 3-star approach for water, sanitation, and hygiene in my school. This is our last school year. We had no wash facilities, which meant that there was no toilet. Sometimes we kids had to poo and pee outside. We also had nowhere to wash our hands and no clean water to drink. When we decided to take this step to become a 1-star school, we needed our community on board, and our teachers made the commitment to ensure the standards we put in place would be maintained. It didn't cost very much. With less than $40 for materials found locally, our community came together to build a group hand washing station in our schoolyard. This meant we could have daily hand washing sessions before lunch, using soap that our local education department gave us a budget for. Our teachers also supervised the daily cleaning of our 2 new toilets, and our families provided us with water bottles to take to school where we could fill them from a safe water supply. When we got our 1-star status, we had a celebration on the 15th of October, which is Global Hand Washing Day, where we received our certificate and our flag, which flies in the schoolyard. On that day, our school and community made a commitment to become a 3-star school in the next 2 years. I've gotten so used to washing my hands at school, I'm washing them more at home too. So does the rest of the family. The Parents Teachers Association approached the local companies and business establishments and fundraised so that we could increase the number of toilets for us and for our teachers too. No more waiting in line. Our school developed a hygiene promoting program, which included installing another hand washing station using tippy taps near the toilets, and we were encouraged to wash our hands with soap after going to the toilet. My sister, Amian, was given special menstrual hygiene classes, and the girls got extra facilities to be able to manage menstrual hygiene. We also raised funds to install ceramic filters to treat water so that we could refill our water bottles in our own classroom. We became a 2-star school and are about to receive more funds to upgrade our facilities, install more toilets and washing facilities, and improve accessibility so that Gopal and other children with disabilities can come to our school. Hand washing has become a habit for me and my friends, in school and at home. We also have a strong committee of teachers and parents who make sure that facilities are well maintained and clean. Together, we are working towards the 3-star school status and meet national standards. Let us all support and strive to achieve the 3-star approach so that all children have opportunities to go to school with access to safe water, child-friendly sanitation facilities, and hygiene education.
So it's not that simple, not just building toilets, but it makes, well,
In a land surrounded by water, there is little water safe enough to drink, clean to wash hands with, and ample enough.
sorry about that. This photo is, I'm sorry about the quality, but it's taken with my phone during a visit to Madagascar that I made last year. And I visited a 1-star school, which is working towards becoming a 2-star school. And I thought it would be fun for you to see from the drawings what it looks like in reality. This is water containers that are in a classroom. You can see the little tap there. And this is a school way out in the country. There's no plumbing and no electricity, nothing. It's surrounded by fields and fields. And there you can see the children drinking in the classroom. It's very important that they all have access to clean drinking water and to wash their hands. She's such a cute girl. And inside there's a ceramic filter to keep the water clean. This is a very simple step, but it really works. And we do not need expensive pumping devices and filters and so on. This does the trick. And that's why it's within reach for every school, no matter how far. Every school can have access to safe drinking water. This is a water container that is outside the classroom, where the children are washing their hands, and they are taught to wash their hands on a regular basis, not just after going to the toilet, but regularly, because it prevents diseases. I was going to show you a funny little video of the children singing their hand washing song, but unfortunately it wouldn't work on the computer here. But they have a hand washing song, and this is also one of the typical ways that we work with hygiene in schools. I've seen it in many different countries, and almost every school has their own hand washing song, and it's very touching to see. And they do things with their hands to show to wash on the upper side and the downside, in between the fingers. It's very cute. And this is an example of how they're taking steps toward the 2 stars. This is from the classroom that is in the preschool area. And in the corner of the classroom, the children have their little bathroom. with a little thing. It's like this, and a little tiny little toilet, and they can go and have their privacy. So this is quite advanced. The older pupils, they do not have toilets like this yet, but they will in time. So enough about schools. Schools are important because the kids, they are taught good habits and they bring it home. And but we need to get the whole community to go along with good hygiene practices and to eliminate open defecation. So this is our how we work with communities, and this is a little bit more complex. But I have tried to illustrate the journey from the open defecation to the family sort of toilet, latrine, and to the modern toilet as we know them. And as you can see, the three components with the enabling environment, which is very important. This is the whole foundation. We have to work with the local governments. They need to back it up financially and in every other way. And we need to have the proper knowledge to actually build latrines and maintain them and so on. And we have to make sure that we actually have the supplies needed. And this is where especially UNICEF is important, because we provide the latrines and the piping and the hand washing kits and everything needed. But we also need to create what we call participatory demand. So we can have access to hand washing facilities and latrines in the local community. So they can actually, one thing is say, we do not want to go to the bush, but you have to have an alternative. I brought another video that tells the story of a local community and their journey towards eliminating open defecation.
This is Sharda and his group of friends beating their drums, making a noise, chanting their slogans. As they go down the narrow lanes, meeting families, they make a cacophony of noise, ensuring that their voices are heard. They have a message and a purpose: to make their village free from open defecation.
When we go out to defecate, there are flies around. These flies sit on our excreta. When we come back home and eat food, the same flies sit on our food. This can cause us illnesses.
Sharda and his band live in a remote village of Uttar Pradesh, a state where less than 36% of households have toilets. In other words, 6 out of 10 people do not have access to a toilet in a state with a population of almost 200 million people. Sharda studies in class 4 in a local government primary school where many good practices of hygiene can be seen taught and practiced. From an early age, children coming to the preschool center are introduced to a baby-friendly toilet. There is an emphasis on cleanliness. The children now understand the importance of clean hands and washing with soap. The next step is for the families to inculcate this change.
For centuries, people here have been defecating in the open, but now that the children have begun using toilets in schools, the habit is breaking, and hopefully this will change the practice in the future.
Lalapur is a hamlet of about 760 people belonging to a socially excluded and marginalized caste. A campaign to make this village free from open defecation was not easy. Changing mindsets takes more than beating drums. But eventually, people saw reason and their own welfare in constructing toilets and in finally using them. Today, Lalapur is free from open defecation. Squatting with dignity at home is a blessing for this village lady who has trouble walking. She dreaded the thought of walking long distances to answer the call of nature. She now has a toilet at home and can go whenever she wants. Supporting this successful campaign is the village headman Rishikesh Singh, who has worked passionately to ensure that every house in this village has a toilet.
People from upper castes used to threaten them for defecating in their fields, because these people belong to a socially excluded caste. Now that they have toilets at home, nobody can harass them.
What's striking in Lalapur is not merely the construction of toilets, but a change of attitudes. The change has come from within the community. They asked for it, they worked for it, and now they monitor its use, thereby ensuring a healthier future.
Now all houses have toilets and they all use them. However, there are some village elders who prefer defecating in the open. Their mindset is difficult to change.
One can feel a great sense of achievement in this community. Women no longer have to wait for dark to defecate out in the open. They feel safe, secure, and dignified as they have all-time access to a toilet at home. Today, Lalapur has emerged as a model village on the map of a state where almost 130 million people do not have toilets and have to defecate in the open. As for Sharda and his band, they have pledged to keep their village free of open defecation. The band is on song.
Yeah, so this has so many implications, as this video illustrated. And one of the most striking things about this very complex process is how children are working as change agents. They are very, very good at this. And we know about this. We know how good children can do driving development forward and making positive changes in their local communities and spreading out to the entire country. This is, I tried to illustrate the process towards eliminating open defecation in a local community. We have to make it a joint effort for it to work. So we start from zero. Everyone goes to the bushes, and this is perfectly normal, and they've done it for centuries, and they know of nothing else. We have to change their mindset and work towards having latrines as the default choice. So no one has to go to the bush anymore. And when we certify the communities for being open defecation free, the rule is that there have to be maximum 3 households per toilet. If that's the case, we can say you are now open defecation free. But we want to go further than that. We want to go towards total sanitation through the sustainable phase, where each household has its own toilet, towards what we know in our daily work, with proper sewage and septic management and so on. So this is from scratch, and this is from India. They do have toilets of a sort, but they go directly to the river, spreading, and this is the river where they wash their clothes and get their water. Not good. So this is the next step. The community latrine is work in progress. They are going to build a wall, so you can see the latrine on the ground. And the next step is a real toilet, a community toilet. And this is what we're striving for, and one in each household. So what is it going to take? We have to involve so many agents to make this happen. This model tries to outline how many we need to involve in this. It's quite complicated, but we know how to do it, and UNICEF is really good at involving a lot of interesting parties. So this is what we are doing when we are at our best. So we involve governments and other interesting parties on the national level, and on the local level, local governments. We have to involve the local health section, education section, and the civil society. In some local communities, there's a religious head that needs to be put in front to drive this. And then on the community level, the children are the most important, as we saw in the video with the boys and their drums and pushing for change, pushing for better sanitation. And we also need to involve the school teachers and headmasters, because the changes often start in school and then it spreads. And we need to form a local committee with members from the local community, teachers, the local mayor, the religious head, whoever is suitable, and they can build the latrines, maintain them, and make sure that it's kept clean and so on. And of course, and I say this of course because the media are quite important as well, because we're working with changing behavior. And we talk a lot about nudging in Denmark, and it's the same. If the local communities are exposed to the messages that it's healthier, but also more normal to use latrines instead of the bush, they are more willing to change their behavior. We have to nudge. And of course, we also work with other NGOs and especially local ones, wherever it makes sense. And we have great results. This is an example from Mali. And we started working with this a few years ago, and it was kind of slow in the beginning, but then around 2013 we reached a critical mass, and then it really took off. Then it became more normalized, and then it's easier to spread the elimination of open defecation. The yellow one is the communicative numbers of communities who have eliminated open defecation. So this is good. Same goes for Nepal. Nepal are not one of the countries on the map, the red countries, but nevertheless, open defecation is quite widespread, especially in the mountains. But we've also managed to have very good results here. So this is what I chose to bring for you today. I think we have time for a few questions. If you have anything you want to ask, now is the time. I hope, anyway, I hope that I've given you an idea about what you're doing here. It seems it's nothing that we think about in our daily work in Denmark, how toilets are important. But it is important, and you know this because you work with it. But it's even more important in developing countries, and we're very happy that you decided to help us with this.
Thank you.